Hey guys, I just finished an amazing session with this amazing individual here, Lewis, and I wanted to jump in on here because he had some amazing things to share with you. So take it away, Lewis.
Hey guys, thank you Sabah for everything. It was an incredible session.
Oh, you're welcome.
We went. It was pretty mind blowing. I mean, I didn't expect that most of the stuff that happened.
It was so beautiful.
Yeah, right out the back, before we even went into the scene where I went onto the cloud, I was already in a scene that seemed to be in the past, which honestly I've never been there. Just it took me by surprise, because usually when you think of the most beautiful place on earth, you would think of a river, you would think of a mountain, but to me it was just a small town, and where, I was just walking with a top hat.
Which was so cool. I thought that was so fascinating when you said that. I was like, that's the coolest, peaceful place ever.
I know. So hopefully I'll get to visit Europe within the next few weeks.
It felt like Europe?
I think so. I mean, it was like the stone roads, everything. It was beautiful. The first scene that I had was not a past life after I came down from the cloud. It was more of we went into I felt the source's presence, and I was able to see a light shining in my face. I literally
That was beautiful.
Yeah. Well,
that was like just sitting on the other end, listening to you sound beautiful. So how did it feel being there?
Well, first it felt like a flashlight hitting you in the face.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very bright light. You just there was no words coming from it at first. Then afterwards, it was just like a flow of words, almost like a takeover, if you want to call it that, in which I was having a conversation with Sabah, not as my regular self, but by the other higher self.
Mm-hmm.
And that was interesting. I thought that was it was beautiful. It was mind opening.
Oh wow.
And I mean, I think we both actually got caught by surprise with that too.
Oh yeah, I was totally shocked. I was like, really? Who am I speaking to? Like, what do it was so exciting. I mean, it was beautiful. All my sessions are beautiful. But thank you so much for jumping in on here and talking about it. What past lives do you want to talk about, or what do you want to share?
Well, no, we had two past lives.
Mm-hmm.
The one where while we were talking to Source,
Mm-hmm.
there was a question that you made about my son.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of getting an answer straight ahead, like where I would just spit out an answer, it literally felt like the lights were shut off, like everything became dimmer,
Mm-hmm.
and I was then transported to a life of an older man, like probably no less than 60, maybe 50, 60 years old.
Mm-hmm.
But he had three kids, I think it was. It was 2 daughters and a son.
Yes.
And a wife that was much younger than he was, probably like 20, 30 years old, younger than he was.
Mm-hmm.
And he was tired, He was in the middle of this beautiful meadow and with a big tall tree, and his kids were right behind him with his wife, and it was just a happy scene. It was where everybody was, just there together. And in the simplicity of this man's life, what it taught me was that it doesn't take, going to the theme parks, spending money on crazy toys or any of that for your family to become whole. It's about being there, just being present, and that's what the lesson was from that life. And I experienced a man's death, but before that, I felt his joy, and he was crying when he saw one of his daughters getting married. It was really emotional for me. And then I went back from that scene. It took me back to Source, which was crazy. So it was almost like, instead of getting a simple worded answer, I got an entire scene to show me what true parenting was. And that's
so profound.
That was incredible.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing was, I deal with a lot of negativity because of current world events.
Yeah, you stress, like a lot of people, especially your generation, stresses a lot. You guys have a lot of that anxiety.
Right. Well, the scene for the second life that I went into was as a fireman that was looking at an entire, forest just going, burning down. It was pretty sad, pretty, it was, to me, I felt horrible. I even mentioned in the session that I was cursing.
Oh, yeah.
I kept on saying how horrible it was.
Mm-hmm.
And what it led for me was that it was just a negative vibe that I let take over my entire life, because everything seemed so messed up. Everything was cruel. Everything was just wrong. And because of that mindset, then it led me to become depressed, because that negativity led to my depression, to my downfall, and which later on my death scene was basically overdosing on antidepressants. So this was not, I wasn't too old. I was, kind of young, but that's how I died. I died from taking pills because I couldn't take on the tolls of the negativity. And after that, in the afterlife.
What did you learn from that life?
That if you let negativity take over, then you're likely going to have just, a negative life. You have to be able to step aside and, take it for what it is. It is a bad thing, but there is a way we can work with how can I make it better instead of just complain? Because by complaining and by cursing at it and by making it the horrible monster that it is, then you're not really fixing anything. You're just part of the problem because you're just negative about it. Then you have to do something. And I didn't do that. My entire thing was, I don't even know where to begin. This is like so bad.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Where do I where am I going to start this, to turn off this fire that it's so big, it's like, it's pointless. I can't even start. I think I actually mentioned that too.
Yeah, you said, I don't even know where it's beginning. I don't know where it ends. So how do you feel now when you think about worldly events that, that are overwhelming? I mean, there's a lot going on the planet. What do you take away from this session with this guy, the fireman?
I think it was, there's a lot of ugly things in the world, but you have to also be able to inject some positivity into it. If you want to make the world better, you can't allow for negativity to be the driving force in your world, that, so to at least make your impact on it versus making it this dark, pointless hole that you're creating by being so negative about things.
Mm-hmm.
So that was interesting. I think the best thing that people can do is just focus on what can be. Where is the starting point? Where am I going to take this negative aspect of my life, or this life in general, for everybody? Where am I going to do? What am I going to do to start something better for it?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what the lesson was. Really, just be positive, be more positive, be the.
Don't let it consume you. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we also had some work that was done on you in your session.
Yeah, I had a wisdom teeth is bothering me. I never pulled them out.
Mm-hmm.
Sabah was kind enough that we went through that. They
Your higher self did it. I just guided. I got you in. That's all.
They worked on my gums, which is pretty cool. I also had some knee problems. Honestly, I did try, lifting my knees up, and it feels a lot better than it did before.
Yay! Well, you'll continue to listen to your sessions, so
Yep.
you can keep integrating that. What else? The subconscious. How was that?
The subconscious, to say the least, it was a lot smarter than I am, to say the least.
It's you. It's there, guys. We have it all. It's there. So tell me, what'd you think of your higher self?
I think it's just, I don't know how to explain it. I mean, it's incredible. It really is. You got the answers to just about everything. And sometimes it's so mundane, so simple, that you don't even think of it as, is it really just that simple? Everything, we overcomplicate ourselves.
Yeah.
And
Your higher self was super wise. I mean, they all are. I mean, they're just, it's within us.
Yeah.
It's that wisdom,
Right.
you know. So it's just tapping in and listening. And it was just so wise and so beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you for allowing me to do a session with you.
Mm.
It was such a blessing to have done it, and Source came right through, that which was gorgeous and beautiful. Completely, we weren't expecting it. These sessions are exciting. We never know what we're going to be having, and the past lives also, there was a lot for you to learn. I know you've got some more processing you're going to be doing over probably the next few weeks or month or so, or however long it takes you to really, you know, work through that. There's a lot that was shown to you and some great wisdom that was given. And yeah, I enjoyed it. Well,
Thank you
thank you.
so much.
Thanks, guys. Take care. Thanks for listening.
Bye.